Sif's blood. Barely survived that encounter. I'll bring you a new transmission. Vode An.
Sucuy'gar, everyone. Welcome back to Vode An after 2 months. Ken, Tidus, myself were really busy. As I've explained before, me and Tidus were dealing with school. Ken was starting a new job, so we were pretty busy. And it didn't help that this book, Attack of the Clones, had to be the most boring book we've ever read. So begun the Clone Wars has, right? Finally, after that atrocious Approaching Storm book.
Hell yeah.
We've now read another atrocious book, and the reason why this book is atrocious is because it's just the same. It's just a movie. It's
Play
nothing,
by play.
Quite literally, almost the dialogue's exactly the same. The scenes happened exactly the way they happened in the movie. There's no EU references at all in any way. I mean, even as like references, like this is something I noticed immediately. Jango Fett being mentioned as a or wearing Mandalorian armor, that's never even mentioned. It's mentioned he wears armor, but it doesn't mention that it's Mandalorian. I guess that's a little too different for George. I don't know. It's ironic though, because Ari Salvatore is my favorite writer. Not my favorite writer. He wrote my favorite book. He's not my favorite writer, but he wrote my favorite book in the EU. So it's ironic that his Attack of the Clones novel kind of sucks. I mean, it's pretty lame. There's some of the deleted scenes are in it. Like the like when Anakin meets Padme's family. That's in it. When I mean the opening scene, which is probably the best scene in the book, where Shmi gets captured by what is it, the Tusken Raiders? That was pretty cool, and you get to you get a good insight into the Lars family, their relationship with Shmi. I mean, it was kind of good. It reminded me a little bit of Tatooine Ghost. At least the scenes from that book, the journal scenes. Anyway, Tidus, what are your immediate thoughts on the book?
Potential. That is like the one word to sum up the book, because it's like there is a lot of potential. And I was telling Ken in chat is that there are some scenes where it's like it's whenever like Jar Jar is appointing the what is it, the emergency powers to Palpatine. It's like Windu and Yoda are sitting and they're talking about, the political climate that's going on, the separatist movement, everything that's rising, like a, idea of a grand army of the Republic. Like they're very worried about the future, and they're thinking about like, what if there is some validity to the separatist movement, and like, why is the Republic or the Senate not paying that much mind? But it's kind of like it dies there. It's like a paragraph or two, and it just kind of carries on to like, play by play of the film. And then Jar Jar, stupidly says, delegate or feligate Delos. And it's like
So
really,
stupid.
man. Like literally, it's dumb. But there's like, I guess there's kind of like unintentional setup for like the Boba Fett books in it, where it's like, I was joking about this earlier when we were watching the movie, but it's like this part where like Boba is watching them fighting for their lives in the arena, and then Django is like patting his back, and like Salvatore he writes in that like he is affirmed in the fact that like him being desensitized is kind of like him being familiar with like the cruelness of the galaxy, and he's not really like afraid of it. He's not really like turning back on it. So it's kind of like setting up how in Boba Fett books that he will also kind of face like the harshness of the galaxy, but more so the fact that Django is gone and that he has to truly be independent. Like he doesn't have like a guiding hand for him. And that's also kind of like the thing in the book where it's like we see him like relishing in the fact that like people being attacked, but it's when Django's actually killed himself, Boba Fett like is physically broken, like his knees are weak, he falls to the sand, and like he has like an actual mourning. Like kind of like the desensitization kind of like wears off.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yep.
my whole thoughts is just that like I think that the book has potential, but Salvatore for whatever reason does not take any advantage of that. To at least like he took some advantage, like the chapters that you mentioned with Shmi and the deleted scenes, but he didn't take the full advantage of that the same way that Stover did.
Right. And
Yeah.
I think when I was going to the book, because for some reason I heard people say that it fixed a lot of the problems the movie had. It doesn't, by the way. At all. If anything, well, I don't want to say it makes it worse, but it's still there. Like all the dialogue scenes and the weird cringe love scenes between Anakin and Padme, all that's still there. It almost verbatim, line by line. But yeah, the book could have really expanded upon like the creation of the Separatists, Count Dooku's role in that. It didn't though. Ken, what were your immediate thoughts on the book?
Oh man.
Ooh.
I mean, I think this book is just kind of painfully mid. You get the first few chapters, like you mentioned, on Tatooine with Shmi. That's the only unique part of the book. The rest of it just feels like Salvatore just copy and pasted the script and just put it in book form. It's kind of strange. He didn't take advantage like Stover did with Artois. Oh my god, goodness, me words tonight. You know what I'm saying? He's not Stover. The guy he just couldn't be creative with it. He couldn't do his thing. There's no magic here, and it just kind of sucks.
Yeah,
Bad.
It felt like that he kind of just, if it wasn't outside the movies, he didn't mention it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think one of the highlights of the novelizations, even with the original trilogy, to be honest with you, I guess the original trilogy was not intentionally doing it, but like it actually like expanded upon the movie. This didn't. This did not expand upon the movie at all.
Yeah,
and like, it most definitely, like I said, it had no EU references in any capacity. There's 0 EU references in this book.
That's honestly what frustrates me. Because the EU right now, this book, like this novelization, the EU is like at its peak, and he doesn't use anything, like nothing.
I mean, yeah, there'd be a lot to pull from.
Yeah, and
I will say though the OT. I don't mean to cut you off, Ken.
No.
Had you finished your thought?
Yeah, I'm good. You can go.
I was just gonna say about what Lance was talking about with the OT novelizations. It's like, I mean, there's so much stuff that is like unused from like early treatments of those films that like it may as well be considered EU. Like the pilot that Luke meets that like that new Anakin, like that in itself is like kind of like EU. It's unintentional because that's like an early treatment, but still it's like there's a lot more than what's given in Attack of Clones.
Yep. Well, what I was more so referencing was like I mean, I've not read those books, but from what I've been told about them, like in Empire, it mentions Boba Fett, like he wears Mandalorian armor. It actually mentions that's where Mandalorians come from.
I mean, yeah,
things like
that. Like that. I constantly bring it up. It's like, what's his name? Donald Glut.
Yeah,
Donald Glover.
Donald F. Donald F. Glut, I think is his name. Like that is like all original to him. Like if I know that correctly, like there's like an original creation that he inserted. Like Boba Fett, his armor belongs to a race of ancient warriors called Mandalorians.
Yep. It's just you don't get any of that in this book, and I mean even with like when he referred to the LAATs, he just called them just Republic gunships. When he was referring to acclimators, he's just calling them, attack cruisers. I mean, it was just really generic. Mm-hmm. It's almost like if it was not in the movie, he did not mention it or talk about it.
It's just strange. Like,
and I have
so much to pull from. He just doesn't.
I kind of have a feeling that, considering he wrote an expanded universe book, I have a feeling someone at Lucasfilm said he couldn't talk about EU stuff in it. I don't know why, because I know Stover did. I don't know if Terry Brooks did. I've not read that book.
Terry Brooks really doesn't. The most Terry Brooks gets at it is with the Darth Bane thing, but that's not even really like EU.
Yeah, that's a George Lucas thing.
Maybe it's because of the criticism he got from the book. Like,
I doubt it's the criticism thing, man. Like who's gonna chew you out for like having EU references?
I'm just pulling straws. Like, I mean, I couldn't tell you why he's not pulling EU references in this book. Like,
Well, I'm not saying you're wrong what you're saying.
no,
I'm
no, no,
just
no,
saying
no.
I'm just saying
I get you.
yeah, I'm agreeing with you. But I'm just saying
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I just think it would be stupid if like someone were to like shoot him out because you referenced the EU in a novelization of the
Yeah.
movie.
It's just strange.
Yeah, I
It's
think it was really, for me, it was really unexpected. I guess it was because these are prequel books, and I heard, obviously, we've all heard about Revenge of the Sith and the reputation that book has. But I mean, this book, if anything, this book was not better than the movie. I mean, I I would say, if we're going to talk about the movie in a sec, but I would say the movie is. I guess we don't really have to talk about the movie. I don't know, but anyway, the movie is better because at least with the movie you get music, you get to see the action. I mean, you get to see the clones and how all that works. I mean, so in that sense, I think the movie's better because it's not like there's really a lot of differences. I don't know how people could read this book and be like, yeah, this is way better than the movie. This is so much better. Like, it's the same thing. It's like Salvatore sat down, watched the movie, and just wrote down what he saw.
And that's like the crux of the problem with this novelization is that like you really have to try to
Yeah.
make this novelization better because the movie, you got the music, you got the acting, all the spectacle. Like you have to really go into detail about
Yeah.
everything in the book, and that's something that this novelization just doesn't do. And that again, Stover, he goes into like Anakin's mindset, he goes on it, but he just like he goes for it and just goes wild with everything. And this R.I. Salvatore just doesn't. He
Yeah.
doesn't try. He's just sitting there copy pasting in his book.
Yeah, it was not like a huge improvement on the film. I mean, like I said, it's about the same. The way I feel about the film is the way I feel about the book. It's the same. I mean,
Yeah.
now generally, I'm gonna ask each of you, and then I'll give my view. Like, what do you think of the film? Just as a film, what do you think? Ken, you want to go first?
Yeah. I think Attack of the Clones, like, it's not a bad film, but it's not great. A lot of the acting is kind of cringy at times, like especially the stuff with Anakin and Padme. It's just like weird.
Yep.
Hayden's not. I mean, I know Hayden gets a lot of hate, but like, I mean, his acting. It's also kind of not his fault because he can act. It's just George Lucas's direction isn't very good, so it's not all on him. But I mean, it's a very mixed bag for me because like a lot of my like view on this movie is nostalgia. Watching this movie like a million times as a kid, so a
Yep.
lot of it is just nostalgia and like happy memories and all that. But I mean, looking at it objectively, there's a lot of flaws in this movie. But the one thing that I'll give it is it has vision, it has soul, and that's like George Lucas really wanted to make his story in this movie as flawed as it is, and that's something like the sequels they lack. They don't have that, and this movie, even for all its flaws, it has a vision, it has soul, it has passion put into it, and I can appreciate that.
Yep. Titus.
Before I get into my specific thoughts about the movie, I will say is that I would go like in comparison to the novel. I would say that the novel is kind of like an unseasoned version of the movie because like I think some things, especially that final chapter, it's like really crammed and you get actually a lot more out of the movie than you would in the novel when depicting those things. But
Yep.
I don't know. I mean, like the movie, it's I don't know how really I could describe it. I mean, I think it's mediocre. I think I could describe it the same way as the book, where it's like it has potential, but for a separate reason, where it's like there's really good ideas with the movie, but it's just like a lot of fate with the prequels, like the execution is kind of like it's kind of wonky.
Mm-hmm.
And
I, if I may
huh?
actually say something,
What's up?
I kind of think the prequel trilogy should have started with Attack of the Clones.
I mean,
And you
yeah,
have,
it probably should it
should have
probably
started.
should have like because I mean the whole focal point of it is like the tragedy of Anakin. I think if you gave more time to develop Anakin Obi-Wan, like a film to themselves, beginning with it. This is
Mhm.
getting off topic a little bit, but I get what you're saying, Ken. You know, I agree, but I think the music is kind of what sells the movie the most. Because I mean, it's really hard for John Williams to fuck up, dog. Like it's like the Camino track. That one, that is probably one of the best ones. The arena song, that's pretty good. Um, especially at the end where it's like Dooku on his like what's it called, a sail barge? Not sail barge.
Solar
His
Sailor.
Solar
Solar
Sailor.
yeah.
Just Solar Sailor, and like when he's entering like the little building on Coruscant, like that song fucking goes hard. Um, so I don't know. I think the John Williams track it carries it. The I don't know how to put it, man. Like, cause with Ken, I agree. Like, it's nostalgic, but
I
it's
think
like
I think that if I may
what's
piggyback on
up?
your about the music, I think the
Uh,
music also carries the acting. Like the Across the Stars kind of carries all the love scenes because the
I mean,
acting
it
painfully.
does.
So
Yep.
The shot where it's like them going off into the arena, that
Mhm.
is unironically like a beautiful fucking shot.
oh yeah, cinematography fantastic.
Where they kiss and like it like they fucking go like that. That it is like it's shot really good.
It's a powerful moment.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Like I'll give it that. It's just like the writing surrounding it is questionable. But
Mm-hmm.
I was gonna
And
say I was trying to say something. I forgot what it was now. Like what was it? Because like what was I mentioning before you had interjected about the music?
mm,
What were you talking about?
yeah, I don't know.
I,
You're talking about like the film being nostalgic and
yes, that's what it was
yeah.
like. I kind of was just saying I agree with Ken, where it's like the film, I think it's nostalgic, but
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of almost like for me, it's like love lost because like as I've gotten older with the movie, it's like the more critical I am about it, it's like I don't know, my appreciation is kind of lost for it. And like my
Yeah.
greatest appreciation I can see I get at his movies, like it created like some of like it well, it led to the creation of some of the best Star Wars stories, like being like the Clone Wars era that we're gonna get into later.
Mm.
And I don't know, there's really like much to say about it. Like it's all right.
I will say
Yep.
for me, all the parodies and stuff on the internet, and all the meme compilations, the YTPs, that also kind of ruins the film. Every time I watch it, I'll just see all the crap
Well, I
surrounding it.
mean,
Like, cool, I can't.
they can't take the movie seriously. That's why.
Yeah, it's the same with episode 3 as well. Like all the stupid dialogue, all the memes, all the fuck. He's the traitor.
He
Ah!
is the traitor. Ah, he is the traitor. Ah, hey, don't kill me.
I have the power to save
I'm
the
too
one
weak.
to come.
He must stand on trial. He's too dangerous to be left alive. Don't let them kill me.
George Lucas is writing everyone. It's just like the shit he writes.
Yeah, George Lucas, a freaking genius screenwriter.
Genius.
Um,
Like,
But
yeah,
what are your thoughts, Lance?
I'm gonna make this clear before everybody
Uh,
rages in the comments. George Lucas is a great storyteller. He's a terrible
Yeah.
screenwriter. There's a big
yes.
difference.
Like make that
Yeah.
clear. He's great.
It's a big
Yeah.
difference.
Story, but he can't.
What are your thoughts, Lance?
I feel that like Ken said, you know, it's very nostalgic. Grew up with these movies, all three of them. I love the story. I mean, like you mentioned, the story and concept is really good. It's just the execution of it makes the story look a lot worse than what it actually is. I mean, I think the idea of like a Jedi and a senator falling in love and having to do it secretly. I mean, it works. It's an interesting, it's a neat idea, but it's never, you know, it was not executed correctly because, I mean, George Lucas does not know how to write a love scene, and I do want to comment on that because over the years now I've seen people say, "Well, Anakin doesn't know how to talk to a girl," and it's like when you look at like romance films, and that is a trope that has been in romance films over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
They don't write the character like the dude who doesn't know how to talk to girls. They don't write them creepily, at least. And now, if he is a creep, of course, in that sense, they will. But if he's just trying to talk to a girl he likes, and he's, but he's never really talked to a girl, he's not gonna like start brushing up against her shoulders and saying, "You're so
Mhm.
soft and smooth." I mean, it's just it's not gonna happen.
I mean, yeah, like
Brennan.
they would write him more like aloof, not creepy.
Exactly,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I think there's people don't understand the difference between that, and
There's a nuance.
I know that's not what George. Obviously, George was not going for creepy. At least I hope not. But I
Ooh.
mean, I hope not.
You're fair, guys.
But no, the love scenes were terrible. The dialogue is terrible. I mean, even with like just like some of the generic conversations like people would have, the dialogue is just terrible. I mean, it goes all the way back to what like Mark Hamill and Alec Guinness and Harrison Ford and all the original actors were saying, like how terrible the dialogue was. I mean,
Mhm.
because it is. George does not know how to write dialogue. I mean, of course, this has been established already, but I mean, I think it's worse because I think he had help writing the screenplay on this film. In the credits, it was George and someone else did the screenplay. I don't remember their name. But I just thought it was the actual as a film, it's terrible, but the story I like.
Mhm.
I think there's a lot of unique planets and technology and creatures. I mean, just like every George Lucas Star Wars film was, right? Everything, it was unique, each one, and new aliens, new everything. Um, of course, probably an overabundance of aliens. That's due to the CGI nature of the film.
Mhm.
Which there were actually parts of it where the CGI is not that bad, but there's other parts where it's just awful. Like I felt the Geonosians looked kind of cool, but then you had the scene where like Jango Fett, captures Anakin,
Mhm.
and I mean we all saw that that CGI was terrible. It looked like a video game character.
Like literally, dude. Like even like the
Video
way
game
he's
cutscene straight up.
wait. You said what, Ken?
It was a game cutscene.
I
Jango
mean,
Fett's
Yeah.
models rendered like that. It looks so
I,
weird and
I mean,
stupid.
dude. Even like the way the composition of the camera, like the way he fucking like he poses up, it looks like a video game
Yeah.
cutscene.
Just add
Like,
some dialogue and some black bars, and it's like, oh yeah, Jedi have captured you, you fool.
I mean, literally, like you could have ripped that out of like Star Wars Bounty Hunter and said like, oh yeah, man,
Or Star Wars
this is
Clone
from
Wars.
there.
Yep.
But not even Clone Wars. That's it's like it's that bad. It doesn't look like early Clone Wars CGI.
Yep.
Bad.
That's true. Well, we're gonna kind of wrap up on our Attack of the Clones, so then we'll talk about the short story. But before we do that, I want to get everyone's, or both of y'all, I guess there's only three of us here, y'all's opinion on like, what do you think is better, the film or the novel? Titus, you go first.
I'm gonna put it very shortly because I mean we basically summed up our thoughts individually about each, but I think that the film is better than the novel for as much of the same reasons you said. It's like there's music effects, like the scenes, but it's just like
Yep.
there's a lot more flavor to it. Like I said, it's like the book is like a literally like a unsalted, unseasoned version of the movie.
Yep. Ken, what do you think, brother?
I think that I gotta go with the movie. Yeah, it's got its flaws. Yeah, I'm nostalgic for it, but I mean the book. It's just by the very nature of R.A. Salvatore just not trying with the book and not trying to elevate it. I'm like, cool. I'm just gonna go with the movie, dog. I get the same experience, but I get more out of it.
Yep, and I definitely agree. I think I mean, there's some actual entertainment in the movie with the action and the lightsaber duel at the end, of course.
Yeah.
Which I know people criticize, but I don't mind. Yeah, the book is just boring, and I think with like, I mean, I think what you would expect in like a novelization. I think low key, I was, and I think I don't know if you guys had the same issue, but I was going in thinking, oh, it's going to be similar to Revenge of the Sith in terms of its expansion upon the film
Yeah.
and its EU references, but
Mhm.
none of that was in it.
I kind of expected it to be like, I'm going into this all excited. It's going to be like Revenge of the Sith. And then I'm like reading it. And after I get past the Tatooine stuff in the beginning, I'm like, oh, this is just painfully average.
Yep. So,
Mm-hmm.
well, that is our opinion on the book. Now, I will say, I think in comparison to Approaching Storm, this is a little better. only because it's based on Attack of the Clones, which is just a more interesting and more entertaining story than Approaching Storm was.
The prose is more palpable too. Like Alan Dean Foster's fucking terrible
That's
prose.
true.
Like awful
That's true.
prose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The prose was readable. It was it kind of
Yeah,
I kept reading the book because the prose was like good. It wasn't shit. Like
yeah, it wasn't like overly like, I don't know,
flowery
or whatever. I mean, this is Star Wars after all.
Yeah,
It's not Lord
Alan
of the Rings.
Dean's just wanking, dude. He's wanking.
yeah, like awesome.
Oh Lord. All right. Well,
He's
let's
cranking
move
his
on.
Ocean hog.
Let's move on to the very quick. I mean, I guess we can go as long as we need to, but after this, we read a short story from the Essential Guide to Warfare. It's on the timeline. By the way, Tidus he's updated that within the past couple of months. He's added some stuff on there.
Mm-hmm.
So keep up with that, because I mean, we're going to continue to add stuff. I mean, if and hell, if when we finish this and Tidus, maybe he discovered, because Tidus, like I've said this in the trailer, but he loves the Clone Wars and it's his favorite era. The prequels as a whole is his favorite. So, I mean, if you find something in the future, we might do like a special episode where we read that and review it. But, he's continuously updating that, and he added this later. It's a short story from the Essential Guide to Warfare by Jason Fry, called "Clone Trooper Falls in a Hole." It's like maybe 7-8 paragraphs. It's very short. It's basically about a clone trooper during the Battle of Geonosis, where he falls into a hole, and that actually ends up saving his life, because he ends up. Well, what does he do? I kind of forgot, to be honest with you.
He waits for like the B2 to turn around, because it's like it's terrain. It's like terrain vector. It couldn't like shoot him from like its angle, so he turned around, and then the clone threw a droid popper, which I will get into that in later, my thoughts. But he threw a droid popper and then shot his back until he died.
Yeah, I was having trouble kind of visualizing what was happening. That's why I was like, oh, I knew a B2 was in it, a Hellfire was in it.
Yeah, because he took the rocket arm and then like fired it at the Hellfire.
Yeah, so basically, him falling into the hole ended up actually saving his life, and he kind of became, it was like he was commemorated for that, for his actions. So this is a really neat little story, I guess, kind of about this one-off clone. That what was this CT? Wasn't it?
I don't remember. It's numbers, man. I don't remember.
I'm gonna look it up.
Numbers, some shit.
His CT was, the subject was CT-1226. I don't know. He's probably never ever mentioned again. But
he probably died.
Probably died.
Or that he probably died. So that probably. He
got his head blown off by some battle droid. Next battle, his next deployment.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of cool. I mean, it kind of felt like a story for Jason Fry just to start mentioning a bunch of technology that he talks about in the book. But
yeah,
like B2s and B1s and E5s, which is the. Oh wait, is that the gun they use? E5s?
Yes, the E5.
Mm-hmm. E5.
DC
Hellfire droids, ATTEs, acclimators. It's actually kind of cool, because the clone trooper describes his HUD in his helmet, and it reminded me a lot of Republic Commando, of course.
Yeah,
and that's a first person perspective, so reminded me of that a little bit. It was interesting. It kind of, like I said, it kind of felt like just an excuse for Jason Fry to like wank off all the technology he just mentioned in the book.
Yeah,
but I mean, it was fine. It's not bad. It's a short story, so
it's pretty decent.
It's pretty good.
Now, Tidus, I know you wanted to mention about the droid poppers. Why is that?
When before we had hopped on here, me and Cameron briefly was talking about it, and like I was saying that the droid poppers kind of took me out of the story, because it's like everything was fine up until then. It's really immersive, like especially the HUD. What you were talking about is like that was my favorite part, where it's like this HUD was jamming as like he was descending, and like eventually he had to replace his helmet by the end of the story. But the problem with the droid poppers is that in TCW, they don't get droid poppers until like later on. Like that's a later innovation. They don't get that off the bat. At first, they're using like thermal detonators. They don't they don't have that shit day one. So like for Jason Fry to kind of like forget that and like have a guy in Geonosis using droid poppers, it's kind of like it's like I don't know. It breaks immersion.
Yeah, fair
Yeah,
enough.
it's kind of weird seeing a droid popper. So I kind of tilted my head sideways, like, huh? What?
Yeah, I agree. I felt the same way, Ken.
Mm-hmm.
Overall, it was fine. Just a little, first person perspective of what it was like during the war, or during that particular battle, rather.
Mm-hmm.
It was, it was neat. It was a neat little story. So that's all we've got, I think. I mean, do you guys want to add anything else about
I
this
think I'm gonna
short
add things about
story?
this short story. Is like
Go ahead,
me,
Ken.
you guys like in the audience know me. I'm a big, or if you guys don't know me, I'm a big military guy. I like all that stuff. I have a bunch of books on like various wars and whatnot. And I just this whole excerpt just kind of felt like an account from a soldier in like the First or Second World War, just fighting on like the front lines.
Yep.
It's just kind of like felt a little badass seeing this clone just do his thing.
Yeah, it was pretty neat. It was a pretty
And
neat story.
I know like this clone gets like a commendation for destroying. Like, by all accounts, he shouldn't. He's a reg. The guy probably again, like we said earlier, probably died his next deployment. But like, I think that's honestly relatable. There's a lot of accounts of like rank and file soldiers doing the same shit and then getting medals for it. So I mean, by all accounts, he shouldn't be getting a commendation for doing this. But I mean, it's a little believable if I think about it in IRL terms. But yeah.
I mean, yeah, we were talking about that
Yeah.
beforehand, and it's like I now having you said that like in a real world context, I could see that, but it's just kind of like it's weird for me because it's like like you said, he's a reg. It's
Yeah.
like how would a Jedi even be able to distinguish this guy among like the thousands of others of like just like white plated clone troopers, And it's not like this guy like took out hundreds or like swarms of like battle droids. He took out a super battle droid and he took out a Hellfire by extension. Like he took out two things. Granted, a Hellfire gone, that is a lot, That's probably like their best vehicles they had outside like the homing spider droids. But it's like he didn't win the war and he didn't like cause significant damage to the CIS's forces.
And that's the whole thing is like in the context of like the universe, he didn't do much. But like let's say in our world, that same situation, like he saved his unit, he saved his men, his boy, his guys. He's gonna be a hero for that.
Yeah.
Yep.
At least it's a witty story. I mean, like it's self-aware in the sense where like he's getting this commendation, but the story just ends on a note like I'm lucky or like I get all this commendation. Like all I really did that was smart was fall in the hole.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, I think that's all we've got. Finally, this little short story is actually the first good story we've reviewed. The last two are terrible. Anyway, that's all we've got. Next time though, we're going to read next. Let me look this up.
Boba Fett.
Bob A. Feet.
Yeah,
story.
Boba Fett and Illusion, which is what is that? A short story?
It's a short story by Michael A. Stackpole with Ayla Secura.
Stackpole, you say? Ooh, that's gonna be
Nice. So we are finally on to the multimedia project. Finally. I guess that's even though it's only been 2 novels and a short story. I mean, those are terrible books. So, and I don't know if these books are going to be good or not. I've heard pretty bad things about them. Gosh.
I haven't heard anything about them.
But bad things about what?
The Boba Fett books.
The first one's good. The first one good. It just gets kind of. I can't say that word, but it gets kind of, bad.
It gets pretty bad.
It gets oi. It gets oi. No, it gets oi in the middle half.
Anyway, that's all we've got for this episode. Thank you guys very much for watching. Now, like I said, now that it's summer vacation for me and Tidus, at least, we'll have a lot more time to read stuff. And these Boba Fett books, shoot, we'll probably read that in one sitting. So that's all we've got. Thank you guys very much for watching, and we'll see you guys for the next episode. May the force be with you.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.